I have no business, no revenue, no team without LinkedIn. My dignity ship sailed so long ago. I'm posting every single day for 7 years. LinkedIn has been the only driver of my growth.
How much money do you think you've made from LinkedIn?
Couple of mil.
This is Lottie Unwin. She spends less than 5 hours a week on LinkedIn, yet has made over £2 million through the platform. What's even crazier is she's done it while on maternity leave with her newborn baby, just a simple LinkedIn system to keep her profile ticking over. She has a ghostwriter helping with content, a VA in her DMs replying to people, and all she does is record voice notes on WhatsApp. It is incredible. So I got Lottie on Zoom, I got to explain her full LinkedIn system to me. She explained why personal content converts more leads than business content, simple systems she uses to grow her profile, and the key mistakes that most founders seem to be getting wrong. Let's dive in. Someone who's lived under a rock, they've never heard of you, Upworld, Brand Hackers. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm a startup marketing obsessive. I am passionate about how consumers find brands and how brands find consumers and the psychology behind that. And I do that in 3 ways. So Up Talent is my version of a recruitment business, helping people get great jobs in startup marketing. Upworld is a community for people in startup marketing, and Brand Hackers is fractional marketing teams for startup brands. So it's like one big ecosystem.
From the looks of things from the outside, LinkedIn's played a big part in the marketing mix. Is that actually the case? And how big a part has LinkedIn been for Brand Hackers?
I have no business, no revenue, no team without LinkedIn. Deciding to commit to the channel 6-7 years ago, and posting every single day for 7 years has been the only driver of my growth.
I think for me, your content obviously recently has been a lot about sharing about having the kid, what that looks like being a mum while working. But obviously the other 80% is high level takes on brand marketing. From a content perspective, how are you thinking about blending the two between the very personal feel and actually showcasing your expertise and being the kind of thought leader?
It's a combination of highly strategic and then just what I feel like. I love writing the vulnerable stuff. I have learned a huge amount about myself. It's been my approach to journaling. I've made incredible connections. I get DMs from people saying that I've kind of changed something in their heads in a tiny way, and that is worth it. I personally get so much out of that, and I know it's cringe and I know it's embarrassing and all the rest of it, but I'm okay with that. My dignity ship sailed so long ago that I'm way too deep to go back now. So my personality is online. And I think it's better for business than it appears. So I tell this story a lot, but years and years and years ago, 7 years ago at the start of this LinkedIn journey, I was living in India. It was COVID. I was on my own and I was really not okay. And I was walking around my flat in Delhi where I used to live, and I'd lost a cup of tea, and I was like, I can't find it anywhere. What's going on? God, I'm really such a scatterbrain. I found it in the fridge, just neatly placed at the top of the fridge. And I was like, right, you're not all right. Stop. So I posted on LinkedIn, I've just left my tea in the fridge. I don't think I'm okay. Does anyone know what I should do? And it was it was really not the kind of comms of a sane woman. And then I went to bed, and because of the time zone, I woke up and I had 5 new business inquiries. I was like, I've literally told the internet that I am unhinged and that I need medical attention. What I need in that moment is someone to be I'm a trained therapist, would you like to talk? And instead someone was like, can you do my marketing strategy?
Do you want more work?
Yeah, do you want more work? I was like, right, the internet is a weird place. But what I realised was that actually we all want to feel safe and trusted and open when we're at work. And yes, I need to look like I know my shit, which is why I can't just post about being unhinged all the time. And I do have to do the marketing stuff. And I've lent into that a lot more over the last couple of years, and I'm really enjoying that. It's really refining my brain, and the act of thinking of clever stuff is really making me cleverer. So I really endorse that as a process. But also being me, I think makes people feel really comfortable working with me.
If you had to switch one off, so someone said look, you've got to choose, you only post personal stuff on LinkedIn, or you only post the top level stuff. If you had to, which route would you kind of lean into or go down?
So right now, I actually think I'd turn off the business stuff and that's very specific to where we're at as a business, which is that I think there's a lot around me that can do the credibility piece. So I think you could write a strategy that said the role of Lottie's personal brand in the ecosystem is to build trust and kind of get people to have that first conversation and like open doors. And I suspect I could do that more effectively by talking about my journey as a leader and my journey as a marketer and my journey as a human than I could putting like the kind of more marketing led stuff, which can just feel like a press release. Like that press release could come from a brand hackers page that we could just promote to get the reach. I don't think the fact that my name is by it is integral. But so I'd say the answer would really change depending on like the commercial context and what I was trying to achieve. And also like I'd really, really miss it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Like, for me, that personal stuff is I get so much energy out of.
How do you balance like, actually I want to just share the things I'm interested in and build a community around it, and actually like, no, this is a huge drive of commercial activity for our business?
So structurally, we have to fight my channels becoming more and more and more and more and more important, proportionate to the rest of the other stuff. Yeah. So James building his profile, for example, was the result of a conversation a few years ago where we said, this can't all be one person. Because and the conversation then was, what if I have a baby and I can't post for a year? Yeah. And actually I managed to post because of systems and stuff that I'll come on to, but we cannot have one single source of revenue. Like that's just not sustainable. So that's not to say that mine isn't becoming more and more impactful, but like as a proportion of the different drivers, I can't let it, it's got to go from 80% to 70% to 60% and the pie get bigger as opposed to it continue to be dominant. Otherwise I'm just like tied to this forever and ever and ever. So that's one thing. Then we think about it in kind of campaign cycles. So there will be times where we'll be trying to drive a particular product, like brand hackers or Upworld membership, or like, because part of the problem, which is kind of the answer to this, is that I'm trying to do way too many things. So my personal brand cannot effectively market the stupid number of revenue streams I've invented. So because of that, again, it forces us to have to think about, to not be too reliant on it. So I have to be super, super, super top of the funnel because I can't really be doing lead gen for everything because the audience gets so confused, it breaks, the whole thing doesn't work.
No, Lottie, I see James from Brand Hackers and a bunch of the team posting it regularly as well. Obviously, I feel like your personal brand has been building for, like you said, 7 years. Now it feels like there is more of like a feel of other people posting in the team. Is that something that's come naturally from you posting, or is that something that you're encouraging internally? We've
really tried all approaches to this. So I've tried I'm going to mandate it, I'm going to make it a really formal thing. That went down terribly. I've tried being really inspiring and trying to just really celebrate what it's doing for me personally and kind of lead with the incentive. And like for me, it's absolutely changed my life. The things I get invited to, the free stuff I get sent, the people I meet, like that's really cool. And I've tried to just say, guys, this is well worth it for you. And also like hush, hush, like the jobs you're going to get from this. It's like really not, like some of this isn't really in my interest, but like I think they're fools for not doing it. So I've tried that. I'd say now we're in a place where I'm very supportive of those that do want to do it. And we have internal training and we talk about it a lot in the business. And there's enough people who have really seen their lives change. So James Hickson, Laura Roman, who runs Up Talent, 20,000 followers. She's getting incredible speaking opportunities. It's been phenomenal for her. And what I say internally is that I want everyone to be focusing on building connections, but there's lots of different ways of doing that. So we have a guide, which is like you could be posting on LinkedIn, you could be meeting someone for coffee once a week, you could be getting involved in Upworld and really helping the community. Like totally depends on your personality type and what your boundaries are, and I'm not going to push those because I've kind of learned that doesn't work. But I do expect my team to be out there building connection in a format that suits them.
Yeah. Is it ever a worry that you'll lose staff to other competitors through it? Is that a worry you have, or is it a case of like, you think it's possible?
It's a worry, but I think it's an incredibly healthy one. So my job is to make them want to stay. And the more in demand they are, the more pressure is on me to make it a great place to work. And that is a really healthy flywheel. So yeah, I'm worried about it, but like bring it on because it'll make me better at my game.
Yeah, and you're balancing.
And I get really cross actually with founders who are like, I don't want my employees networking. I don't want them meeting other people. It's like so Fritzl seller. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to like chain them up so they don't meet anyone else. They don't get a better job. Like, just look after them properly.
You mentioned you have systems around LinkedIn that have helped you keep going. What have you got around your or LinkedIn or even the team's LinkedIn from a general focus?
So I have given that I've just had a baby, I have quite a lot of support. So I have a VA who manages my inbox. And a tool called Condo that I would highly recommend that's like superhuman for LinkedIn DMs. Just saved my life so much. It's like you can just clear through your LinkedIn DMs with shortcuts and you can file it and it just behave in a normal way as opposed to like the terrible UX of a LinkedIn inbox. So I have an amazing VA, Mark, who manages my DMs. He stars stuff that he thinks I'd want to see or reply to because I like to do a lot of it myself, but he just kind of keeps it really tidy. And then I have a ghostwriter collaborator, amazing girl called Eloise, who's a brand manager in my team, who does a lot of like co-creation with me. So I'll send her lots of voice notes. She'll be like, that's interesting, that's not. We'll like help craft it into something. We've trained an AI model, obviously, in my tone of voice. So she's able to give me quite good drafts, which meant that while I was on mat leave, I could do a lot of it from voice note. So it is my thoughts and it's my voice. It's just, I'm not having to do more than I can do with one hand feeding a baby. And then we have lots of channels in our internal Slack for like inspiration and hooks we like and things we think could be interesting to share. And then just quite a healthy culture around reminding each other that there's a post in it. So it's very common in our internal Slack to be like, that's a LinkedIn post. When someone says something and it's like, you don't necessarily have your eye in for it. So that's really helpful.
You do a lot of work with startups and startup founders. Is LinkedIn something you would push them in the direction of now? I feel like 5-10 years ago, it wasn't a thing you'd push a startup founder. I see the guy who makes the tempeh all the time on my LinkedIn. Are you pushing startup founders and startup companies that, like you said, are D2C to get on LinkedIn? And what's kind of your selling point?
I have been for so long. I think the algorithm is still so friendly. And I know there's loads of like chat at the moment about how the algorithm is less friendly, like whatever. It's still way more friendly than anything else. I think it's so funny how geeky people get about algorithm changes when they post like once a week. Like, honestly, stop worrying about it. It really makes me laugh. It's like I always say it's like someone being like, before they've ever been on a run, like someone who signs up for Coach to 5K asking like what energy gels they should have. It's like, let's just all calm down. And the algorithm is not blocking your content, is that your content is rubbish. Unless you're like a serial creator. They should post a lot because the algorithm is still very friendly. And there's people with high disposable income there who spend a lot of time. And because the content is quite bad on the whole, it's very easy to cut through, which I don't think is true on other channels. I also think it is a really good way of reaching like commercial, like investors, buyers, like lots of the contacts who aren't just your consumer. I think it's hugely underestimated as a way of finding your direct consumer. But I think like the immediate impact is like people that might have purse strings. And I think it's a really good way of warming up founders for founder-led content in other forums. So we're doing a lot of founder-led ads, a lot of storytelling on landing pages across channels with like the founder story as a way of kind of getting you that first lift off. And LinkedIn is a really good way to start kind of flexing those habits, flexing those muscles.
Okay, let's run over, so quick fire. How much money do you think you've made from LinkedIn?
A couple of mil.
How many impressions did you generate last year on LinkedIn?
A couple of mil.
Favourite person you follow on LinkedIn?
James Hickson. Gotta back my team.
Good recommendation. The thing you hate most about LinkedIn?
The thing I love to hate the most about LinkedIn is when you get a comment from someone called Barry who works in construction who's telling me that like some like hilariously misogynistic waffle. And I actually don't hate it because I think it's so funny, but it's quite crap that there's people like that out there.
I agree with that. If you could sum your LinkedIn strategy up in one sentence, what would it be?
Show up consistently. What
Lottie's doing on LinkedIn is absolutely fantastic, and she's a prime example of what founders can do on LinkedIn. A lot of gurus will tell you have to spend all your day commenting or networking. Lottie's not doing that at all. She has simple systems around her profile, and her LinkedIn strategy, and it's working, and it's driving millions in sales to her businesses, which I think is fantastic. You should definitely follow Lottie on LinkedIn if you're not already. And if you like content like this, I have more interviews coming, so please like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought of the video, and I really appreciate you watching this far. I shall see you in the next video.